welcome to my channel, Bent Not Broken, and I'm here today to tell you my scoliosis story and all the things I've been going through with my scoliosis for the past 2 years and my experiences and the story of my brace and my upcoming surgery, and maybe give you some insight on what it's like to have scoliosis if you just got diagnosed, things that could be up and coming for you. So let's get started. So right now I'm about midway through my sophomore year of high school, and when I first got diagnosed with scoliosis, it was towards the end of 8th grade, so I was about to turn 14, I believe, and pretty much I went to the doctor's office for my yearly physical, and towards the end of my appointment, my doctor had me bend down like any other regular physical, but at this physical, she saw that my shoulders were uneven, which indicated that I have scoliosis, and she wasn't really sure at the time, so she just told my mom, I'm seeing some signs of scoliosis, you should go have your daughter x-rayed. So that same day, right after my physical, we went to another building and they x-rayed me, and as soon as my doctor looked at it, we got a phone call from my mom, and she said that I have significant scoliosis. I wasn't really sure what this meant at the time because I wasn't really familiar with the term scoliosis. I just know that sometimes they would check kids at my school. I had never been checked, unfortunately, because we found out kind of late about my scoliosis. But yeah, so she gave us a referral to a doctor, and it took us a few weeks to get the appointment, so this was all kind of up in the air at the time. But going forward, we had our appointment, I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks after my yearly physical, and they x-rayed me, and the doctor was able to give a more specific look at my curve and measure the degrees, which my pediatrician was not able to do. And they discovered that I had two 40-degree curves, one on the top and one on the bottom, which was pretty significant considering that I was in the middle of my growth spurt at the time, and when you grow, your scoliosis gets worse. So they immediately decided that I needed to be put in a brace, and for me this was very upsetting news because, well, for one thing, I didn't really have any knowledge as to what a brace was or what it was going to be like for me to have a brace. And so for me, it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and I got really, really upset, and I didn't really realize that, having a brace wasn't going to be so bad. So I was really upset, and later I found out that it wasn't as big a deal as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, this is pretty shocking news for someone who didn't really have that much knowledge on it. So yeah, that was hard for me. But, considering that I was so upset, the adjustment time for me to start wearing my brace took a little bit longer than usual. I think for most it's about 2 weeks, but I was so upset about the situation that it took me more about a month. But after a while, I did get used to it, and I got my brace. It was pretty much, I had to wear this. I've only had one because I didn't grow out of it, and I had to wear this for 6 months. So when I had my physical, I believe that was May of 2016, and then my orthopedist appointment was in June of 2016, I believe. And so we went to the office where they fit me for the brace and got my measurements, and after that it took much longer than normal. We weren't very happy about the waiting time. It took about a few months. I think we went there in August, and I got my brace in October of 2016, so it took a while for the brace to come, but when it did finally come, I started wearing it, and it was hard for me at first, especially I had just started my freshman year of high school in September of 2016, so it was a hard adjustment for me, seeing as I had just started high school and was very concerned about my looks, as most teenage girls are. But my sister and I also went on a shopping trip on Black Friday of 2016, so that was about as long as it took me to get used to my brace, because right after that shopping trip, I started wearing my brace regularly to school. So I got my brace in late October 2016 and started wearing it around Thanksgiving, early December of 2016. So while I had the brace, I did not have to go back to the doctor. I went to the doctor in April of 2017, and my curves had stayed at about high 40s, early 50-degree curves. So there wasn't too much progression. I think there was about 3 or 4 degrees in each one of my curves. So they saw that I was done growing. I had stayed at 5'7.5", I think it was. Yeah, I stayed at 5'7.5". So they decided that I didn't need my brace anymore. So I had my brace from October 2016 to April 2017, which was for about 6 months. To me, it seemed that time actually went a lot shorter than I thought it would. So having a brace wasn't nearly as bad as it seemed. So I got my brace off in April 2017, and my doctor said, okay, you're looking good, you're done growing, there shouldn't be too much more progression. And on top of that, I was also continuing with my Stroth physical therapy and going about once a week since the summer before 9th grade. And if you don't know what Stroth physical therapy is, it's pretty much just like doing positions like this and correcting your movement and the balance of your spine to try to keep your spine straight and even reduce your pain. So I'm actually still practicing that, but this was going on top of all my scoliosis, my bracing and such. So where was I? So I got my brace off in April 2017. My doctor said, okay, everything looks good. I will see you in 6 months for another x-ray. And that's when we got the bad news. So we went back in October of 2017, or it might have been early November, one of those two. And that was the shocker. When we found out the shocker, we found out that my upper curve had progressed 10 degrees. So I now had a 60-degree curve and a 50-degree curve. So my lower curve, my lower lumbar curve was pretty stable and had only progressed about 1 or 2 degrees, but my upper curve had progressed 10 degrees and I had stopped growing. So that's when we found out that I needed surgery. So that was when we went to that orthopedist. But right after that, my dad decided that it would be a good idea for me to go and get a second opinion. So we went to another doctor who my parents did a lot of research on to make sure that I had the best doctor and the best opinion they can get. And this doctor told us that I did need surgery because my upper curve had progressed so rapidly and they wanted to stop it from progressing. And so my surgery is currently scheduled for March 13th, 2018. We decided to do it then because this will be around the time of my spring break and it's still winter. So we thought, I didn't want to do my surgery right away because I am a bit nervous about it. But I know that it's going to be okay and that my spine is going to be pretty straight after this. So right now, if you can see, my shoulders are a bit uneven, which is what it looks like for a lot of people with scoliosis have it. And a lot of people, I don't have this, but some people with scoliosis have uneven hips, which comes from a larger lower curve. So my doctor will be fusing down to L1 my spine, which is about a little bit lower than midway down my back. So I'll still have some mobility of my lower back, but the entire top of my back, I won't have any movement, which is also blocked by the rib cage, but we're gonna see what happens. So where I am right now is I'm pretty much getting ready to have my surgery. I'm actually going to LA for my winter break in a couple weeks, so that'll be like my last vacation before I have my surgery. And I've been going through a great deal of pain, which to me sort of indicates especially in my upper back, which to me sort of indicates that my upper curve is getting worse, but it's not really a big deal because I am having surgery. And when we talked to my doctor at my last spine checkup, he said, same surgery, so I don't really need to worry about my spine getting worse. So I obviously don't have an x-ray machine, but if it is getting worse, it's going to get fixed and it'll stop progression. And I'm also going to be about an inch and an inch and a half tall to an inch and a half taller, which for me isn't great news because I don't like being tall, but we're going to see how that goes. So I'm not exactly looking forward to the surgery, but I know that I'm going to be okay after that. And I also don't think I mentioned that one of my favorite things to do, like, in the entire world is horseback riding. So I'm an equestrian, and it's been pretty painful for me to ride for the past few months, I'd say less than a year. So I've actually stopped doing that because of my pain, but actually my doctor said that after my surgery, after 3 months, I can go back to riding. So I'm really looking forward to that. So since my surgery is in March, that'll be in about 4 months that I can go back to riding. So I'm really excited about that, and excited to have a straighter spine and better position. So that's definitely one of the positives that's going to be of having the surgery. And I also won't have to wear my brace for pain anymore. So pretty much what the brace does is, it pushes in every place that your body doesn't want you to go. So my shoulders are uneven. This one's higher than this one. So this part of the brace picked my shoulder up so that this curve was open and I wasn't leaning into this curve and making it worse. And my curve goes like this. So it's coming here. So this pushed it in so that part of my spine and that part of my spine wasn't getting worse, and it was maintaining a balance for me while I had my brace on. And although my brace was really uncomfortable at the time, I'm really glad I kept it, because whenever my back hurts, I'm able to put it on and it sort of gets rid of the pain while I'm wearing it. My pain is still, it's a large plastic shell and I haven't really been wearing it, so I'm not used to it anymore, but it is very helpful for my pain. So if you have a brace, definitely keep it after you're told you can get it off, because if you have back pain, it's definitely something good to keep to help with your back pain. Okay, so pretty much that's my story. I'd say I definitely have more brace experience than surgery experience, because I haven't had the surgery yet, but we're gonna see how that goes. And I'm gonna try to post a pre-op and post-op video on my surgery, and so I'm gonna see how that goes and see if I can get it done as soon as possible after my surgery, if I'm able to. And if you have any questions, comment down below and I'll be sure to answer as many questions as possible. And I'm also going to try to make more videos on maybe things such as clothes to wear with your brace or comfort. I haven't really thought of any ideas yet, but if you have an idea and you have a request for a video you want, comment down below, because I have tons of knowledge on the subject and experience with my brace. So any requests, comment down below.